Welcome to episode 20 of the Monday Minute for business owners. The different roles in finance. I've been asked a lot recently about the different roles that people play within a company's financial infrastructure, because there's a lot of confusion. A lot of business owners don't quite understand who does what, what's important, how they do it, when they do it. So my plan here is to probably ramble a bit and just talk about those different roles. So you've got an internal finance team generally, and you've got an external finance team. And generally the external finance team will do the year-end accounts and the tax for the company and for the directors as well. And usually the external accountants don't play much of a role in the business going forward. They're very much looking back and looking at what happened last year. We've then got the internal finance team, and this can be set up differently depending on the size of the business. But the various different roles I can talk about. So typically you'll have a bookkeeper, so someone who processes the invoices on ideally a daily basis. So your sales invoices, purchase invoices, so they get posted into your financial system. And often if the company is big enough, there may be someone who looks after the sales ledger, there may be someone who looks after the purchase ledger as well. But for a lot of companies that are under probably 2 to 3 million, that's often done by maybe one person, or a couple of people will do those roles. As we move further upscale, we've got financial controller, and clue there is in the title. So the financial controller should be controlling the finance team and should be making sure that all of the information is being processed on a day-to-day basis, and making sure that we've got the right reports and that the cash is being managed as well. Now, in between the processing type roles in the financial controller, there's occasionally an accountant. So it could be an internal accountant, it could be a management accountant, or just basically called an accountant. And their role is very much on the reporting side of things. And the key there is to make sure they're producing the monthly management accounts, any other reports, daily, weekly, KPI type reports, and that work would link in with the financial controller. Now, often there is an overlap between what the accountant and the financial controller does, and many companies will just have one or the other. We then move to the finance director role, chief financial officer, as it's sometimes called. And the key again is in the title. Director, the finance director should be directing finance. For me, there are a lot of people who are called finance directors who I believe are actually not finance directors, because they're very much looking back and reporting on what has happened. For me, a finance director develops the financial strategy of the business and looks forward. They tell you what's going to happen rather than what's happened. A good finance director should be able to tell you what's going to happen next week, next month, next year, and further, and also make sure that the business has the right funding for that. And as I've said before in some of these previous episodes, the key there is working closely with the operational team, because without that, finance sitting on its side, it's just not going to work. The two have to be completely integrated, and they have to learn from each other. Finance is there to provide a service for the rest of the business, and should be giving the operational team and also the board and management team the information that they need to make decisions and to run the business. In most businesses, the external accountant will calculate the tax that the company owes, so they'll prepare the annual corporation tax return, and they'll prepare the personal tax returns for the individuals. Now, in order to make those most effective and make sure we're getting best use of the tax regime, we should be making sure that the independent financial advisor or the wealth manager who looks after the business owner's personal wealth and finances is involved in these decisions. And they should be involved in discussions throughout the year, not just once a year. Ideally, many companies involve them on a quarterly basis, some on a 6-monthly basis, but at least annually. And that allows the business owner to ensure that he's taking advantage of opportunities from a tax perspective, from a pension perspective as well. And it allows the wealth manager to have an overarching view of what's happening with the business and with the individual's personal wealth. And the timing is very important in all of that, because from a taxation and pension perspective, there are deadlines. And if the wealth manager isn't involved in the information flow and those discussions, then the business owner can lose such opportunities. From an overall financial perspective, we want to make sure that we're looking after the creation of wealth, the enhancement of wealth, and also the protection of wealth, and then ultimately the realization of the wealth. So it's important that all of these financial roles are properly understood and they're coordinated and all joined up as part of the overall financial strategy. If you would like to hear more of my Monday Minutes for business owners, please follow me, connect with me, and I'll see you again next week. Thank you.